November 3rd, 2025 meeting of the Delaware County Board of Commissioners. And we will now open the hearing. Want to read the, no, do we need to read the resolution, or we just open the hearing?
We'll wait to read the resolution. We just can note the time of the public hearing at 10 a.m. that we opened it, and you can go ahead and read what we're going to do today.
All right. I will read the instructions on what we'll do today. I want to welcome everyone to the first hearing for consideration of the Warren 129 Watershed Drainage Improvement Petition. There's a sign-in sheet circulating the room, and we ask that you please sign the sheet to indicate your attendance. And here's what will happen today. We'll first hear a report from the County Engineer and Soil and Water Conservation District. There are copies available of this report. Following the presentation, there'll be a time for questions from the board. After board questions, the board will hear from any interested owners that wish to testify. Those speaking for or against the petition must be an owner, as defined in section 613101 of the revised code. Again, that's very important. Some people try to speak on behalf of a neighbor or friend or whatever, and we can't allow that. Before accepting testimony for or against the petition, the board will acknowledge receipt of any landowner written testimony before hearing live testimony. We'll first call all those wishing to testify in favor of the petition. We will then call all those wishing to testify in opposition to the petition. Before testifying, you'll be asked to take an oath. After all those wishing to testify for or against the petition have been heard, there will be an opportunity for responsive or rebuttal testimony. The board will then close the public hearing after all testimony and evidence has been presented. After listening to testimony and the report of the engineer, the board will decide whether to proceed with the survey and design or dismiss the petition. The board must consider the following factors in making its decision. 1, whether the proposed improvement is necessary. 2, whether the proposed improvement will be conducive to the public welfare. And 3, whether the cost of the proposed improvement will be less than the benefit the improvement provides. If the board proceeds with the petition, the Delaware County Engineer will prepare plans, reports, and individual schedules of assessments for the project. When those plans are complete, a final hearing will be set. Notification of the hearing will be given to landowners, and the board will consider the project. So with that, we will turn it over to Brett Bacon from Soil and Water.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brett Bacon, Deputy Administrator, Soil and Water Conservation District. I will read the first hearing report into the record and then be happy to answer any questions the board may have. First hearing report, Warren number 129 Watershed Drainage Petition per ORC 6131, November 3rd, 2025. This report has been prepared for the preliminary hearing on a drainage improvement petition filed by Richard R. Lehner and Earl E. Lehner and others on April 16th, 2025. The original petition has been signed by 3 individuals representing 10 of the 114 parcels in the watershed. The course and termini of the requested improvements are quoted from the petition as follows. In Delaware County, Troy Township, within the Warren number 129 watershed and generally following but not limited to the course and termini of existing improvements. The following is the nature of the work requested as quoted from the petition. To generally improve the drainage, both surface and subsurface, to a good and sufficient outlet by replacing, repairing, or altering the existing improvements as required and or creating new surface and subsurface drainage mains or laterals as requested by this petition. The petition was amended by Scott Svanovich and Regina Svanovich on August 12, 2025 to include a request for improvements within the Hills number 195 and Mooney number 132 watershed, a lateral and sub-watershed to the Warren number 129 watershed. The Commissioners accepted this amendment on August 28, 2025. Petition process. This petition has been submitted according to Section 6131 of the Ohio Revised Code, which authorizes the Board of Commissioners to act on behalf of benefited property owners to make drainage improvements. If the Board of Commissioners decides to proceed with the project, the costs related to the improvements and the development of plans, reports, and schedules are assessed to the landowners in the watershed according to the benefit received to their watershed acreage. These special assessments will be added to the property taxes for each property and can be spread over a maximum of a 15-year period. Property owners may also choose to pay their assessment in a lump sum payment prior to placement on their property taxes. Additionally, the improvements will be placed on the Delaware County Drainage Maintenance Program in perpetuity per ORC Section 6137, and the annual maintenance assessment will appear on property tax statements as a special assessment in the same manner as the construction assessments. These annual maintenance assessments are generally in the range of 2 to 5% of the construction assessment. The decision to approve a petition project is a three-step process. First, a viewing of the proposed improvement is conducted for the commissioners to familiarize themselves with the watershed and general conditions. The commissioners conducted the viewing for this project by drone video on August 11th, 2025. Next, a preliminary hearing is held to consider the initial feasibility of the proposal. It is this preliminary first hearing that is before us today. If this petition is approved, a final hearing will be conducted to further consider this petition. At that time, final details such as engineering plans and specifications, cost estimates, and a proposed schedule of assessments will be known. Existing conditions. The Delaware Soil and Water Conservation District and Delaware County Engineers Office have made the following observations of the watershed using on-site evaluation and a review of available historic records, aerial photography, topographic mapping, soils mapping, and drone video. The Warren number 129 watershed, as defined for this hearing, measures approximately 813 acres. The predominant land use within the watershed is agricultural, with significant areas of rural residential and smaller areas of woods, commercial, and road rights-of-way. Improvements have been made in the watershed utilizing the drainage petition process in 1890, 1893, 1907, 1911, 1912, and 1919. The existing drainage system does not appear to be functioning at optimum capacity due to a lack of comprehensive maintenance and the generally deteriorated condition of the infrastructure. Several blowouts have been observed along the length of the subsurface drain pipe. This indicates potential structural deficiencies in the material and can be an indicator the subsurface drain system is not fully functional. These structural issues can also increase the frequency of surface flows or flood routing through the area as drainage water normally flowing through the subsurface drain pipe is forced to the surface. These conditions are indicators of an overburdened, unmaintained, and aged drainage infrastructure. While the existing drainage system still provides some degree of drainage benefit, it does not appear to meet the specifications of a good and sufficient outlet for either agricultural or rural residential drainage. Estimate of cost factors favorable, unfavorable, benefit versus cost. ORC 6131 requires the county engineer to state in a report factors favorable and unfavorable to a proposed project, estimate the cost of the project, and state an opinion as to whether the benefits of the project exceed the cost. The following information is presented for your consideration. Construction estimate. The proposed project would begin at the junction of the Warren number 129 drainage system and the Delaware Run Drainage Maintenance Project number 0319 and extend upstream to Troy Road. The major items of work would include surface drain shaping and grading, subsurface drain pipe replacement, clearing of brush and vegetation, seeding and mulching of disturbed areas, and the installation of erosion control measures. For the purpose of clarity, the estimate has been divided into the Warren 129 main and the Mooney number 132, Hills number 195 amendment. Project estimate Warren number 129 main. Construction, $424,610. Project administration, survey, and engineering, $20,000. Drainage maintenance, ORC 6137, first year startup, $21,230. Project estimate, Warren number 129 main, $465,840. Project estimate, Mooney number 132, Hills number 195 amendment. Construction, $361,680. Project administration, survey, and engineering, $20,000. Drainage maintenance, first year startup, $18,084. Project estimate, Mooney number 132, Hills number 195 amendment, $399,764. Total combined project estimate, $865,804. Notes. It is important to understand that the above estimates are preliminary and made in the absence of a current detailed topographic survey of the project area. The above estimate does not contain a contingency amount. The amount of necessary contingency would be evaluated as part of the survey and engineering design of the project and added to the estimate presented at the final hearing. Contingency cost is typically estimated at 10 to 20% of the final construction estimate. As an example, a 15% contingency would add approximately $86,000 to the construction estimate. This estimate assumes complete reconstruction of the drainage system will be necessary. If during the course of survey and engineering it is determined components of the current system do not require improvement, they may be considered for acceptance into the drainage maintenance program in their present condition. Should the project fail to be approved at the final hearing, the benefiting landowners, as defined by ORC 6131, may still be responsible for the cost of project administration, survey, and engineering design. Assessments. If the project moves forward to the second hearing, the Ohio Revised Code instructs the county engineer to calculate the assessments to individual property owners based on the benefits received from the improvements for the various properties in the watershed. ORC 6131 states that, quote, uplands that have been removed from their natural state by deforestation, cultivation, artificial drainage, urban development, or other human methods shall be considered to be benefited by an improvement that is required to dispose of the accelerated flow of water from the uplands. Benefits are further defined by the ORC as elimination or reduction of damage from flood, removal of water conditions that jeopardize public health, safety, or welfare, and increased value of land resulting from the improvement. It should be noted that property owners are only assessed for those improvements that are located downstream from their properties. No property is assessed for improvements located upstream. The public agencies that own rights-of-way for public roads and other public lands are also assessed for both construction and maintenance costs in the same manner as private property owners. Individual parcel assessments are not calculated for the preliminary hearing and are only calculated if the petition moves forward to a second or final hearing. Factors favorable, unfavorable. Factors favorable to the improvement: improved surface and subsurface drainage in the watershed, improved outlet for subsurface drainage components of household sewage treatment systems and for residential drainage systems, reduction of future deterioration of surface and subsurface drainage infrastructure, annual inspections, maintenance, and protection of the improvement in perpetuity. Factors unfavorable to the improvement: temporary land use disruption during construction, cost of construction and maintenance may be a burden to some landowners, removal of existing trees and brush in the improvement area. Benefits versus cost. Assessments for property within the watershed are calculated based on the benefits derived from, as well as the contribution to the drainage system. The benefits to agricultural lands are realized differently from what is commonly seen for residential properties. However, both types of land use are commonly recognized to have benefit from a good and sufficient drainage outlet. A publication by the Ohio State University Extension titled Returns to Farm Drainage details several studies conducted by Ohio State researchers on the effects of drainage on crop yields. The studies show that fields with good drainage will produce higher yields than fields that have poor drainage. A recently completed 25-year study showed that subsurface drainage increased corn yields by 24 to 39% and increased soybean yields by 13% to 46%. The same study also analyzed the return on investment for installing subsurface drainage in a field and found that for corn, $4 is returned for every $1 invested, and for soybeans, $3 is returned for every $1 invested. There are approximately 500 acres in the watershed currently being used for agricultural production. The average estimated yield increases for the soil types present in the watershed, given the appropriate drainage improvements are in place, are approximately 46 bushels per acre for corn and 14 bushels per acre for soybeans. Using the current 2-year average crop prices from the USDA National Agricultural Statistics Service of $4.32 per bushel for corn and $11.40 per bushel for soybeans, it could be estimated that drainage improvements can potentially produce an average annual benefit of $89,500. This estimate assumes an even distribution of corn and soybeans in the watershed. To state it generally, the benefits of drainage will equal the increased yield multiplied by the market price. The increased value or benefit for residential and commercial properties is much more subjective and difficult to quantify. The lack of an adequate drainage outlet can dramatically affect the seasonal usability of a property and deteriorate the condition of household sewage treatment systems, potentially limiting the value of homes for resale. Should existing systems fail, the cost to perform repairs or construct alternate sewage treatment systems can range from the thousands to tens of thousands of dollars. It would also be reasonable to consider the cost of environmental degradation due to residential sewage treatment systems that may not be functioning properly. Other benefits that are commonly perceived as a result of drainage improvements focus on quality of life and positive neighborhood perception. Communities that have planned and maintained stormwater drainage infrastructures generally have higher resale values than those communities that are known to have a history of drainage problems or flooding. Conclusions. Based on all of the information gathered and generated for this project, I believe this project is technically feasible and would adequately serve the project area's drainage needs. The testimony brought to the board by the landowners, however, as to whether the benefits of this project exceed the cost, should be given significant consideration in the decision to move forward with this project. Should the current petition be approved to proceed to a final hearing, the petition bond will be returned and detailed plans, specifications, estimated costs, and a schedule of assessments would be prepared. Additionally, a benefit versus cost analysis will also be performed to further determine the feasibility of advancing this proposed project.
Okay. Take a breath. Questions from the board, Commissioner Myrtle?
Not at this time.
I had a couple, I think, fairly quick ones. Are either one of these dependent on the other?
The amendment would be dependent on the main.
Okay. Okay. I figured that was probably the case. All right. Is the 813 acres, that is both?
Yes.
Okay. And the 500 acres of ag land is both
Yes.
as well? So it's
Correct.
about, I don't know, 5/8 roughly
Yeah.
ag. Okay, got it. It looked like it was mostly ag, so that's consistent.
Predominantly, yes.
Okay, that's all the questions I had. I guess now, next, we open it up for those speaking for or against the petition. First, do we have any written?
We do not have any written testimony for this
Okay, didn't
particular
think we
project.
did. So, first, we'll call for all those wishing to testify in favor of the petition. I'll open it up.
Good morning. Earl Laner, 709 Radnor Road, Delaware, Ohio.
Okay,
Want to thank everybody.
I'll swear you in first.
Yes, sir.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Okay, you can proceed.
I'd like to thank
Yes, sir.
everybody today for having this hearing. My brother and I owned this roughly over about 35 years. It's gotten worse through the years, and I was really surprised today that the last real improvement was 1917. The tile has had blowouts. We've spent our own funds to try to fix that through the years, and it's just getting to the point where we just can't maintain it because there's nothing to good hook on to. If you have a spot that's 2 foot hole, you may have to go several feet, like 50 or 60, to try to fix it, to hook onto something good, and it's quite expensive and timely. So we've noticed the drainage is getting worse, and we thought it was time to, with all the other properties, we can see there's problems in the neighborhood to petition this at this time.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right. Any questions, Earl? Thank you. All right, anybody else wishing to testify in favor of the petition? Welcome. Identify yourself and I'll swear you in.
Richard Laner, 2369 Troy Road. I'm Earl's brother.
Yep. Okay, let me give you an oath. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
All right, you can proceed.
I just wanted to say I agree with everything he said. We tried to maintain ditch. We did a ditch through soil conservation 15 years ago, which helped some of the problem. But the holes and the old tile are just getting out of hand. And so I agree with what my brother said.
Okay, very good. Thank you. All right. Another proponent. You could identify yourself.
Yeah, Lauren Richards, 1038 Solomon Square, Delaware, Ohio.
Okay. Let me read you the oath. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay.
I'm here on behalf of Preservation Parks of Delaware County, as Gallant Woods is in this watershed. Today, I just wanted to say that we are in favor and want to be good neighbors within this watershed to improve drainage, but also for the Park District being able to provide stormwater through the use of constructed wetlands and natural wetlands on our property as well. Two things that I just wanted to note for this Warren 129 drainage line is that, use this mouse. So on here, we have a section of the line that comes onto park property. This was improved with plastic tile in 2013 by Rhodes. It's about a 15-inch solid plastic pipe. And then there's a section on the southeast corner of our property with Laner, and it's showing that it's currently off property, but we actually believe it might be 100 feet northwest of onto our property. And we were wondering potentially if this petition moves forward, is that if this improvement could be rerouted with the alignment shown off park property, kind of coasting around our border, just because we are reforesting these areas, and farther down the line there may be more impacts to drainage through roots and other stuff. So if there's a possibility to reroute some of that area so that it maintains off of park property, then that would be great.
Okay.
And that's all I have.
Brett may want to comment on that. I know these are preliminary watershed borders, but Brett, additional comment?
Yeah, it's actually a conversation I had with Chris Rashawn with Preservation Parks. Certainly something we will consider. It's all dependent on, survey and engineering design, but I'll say we kind of have a blank piece of paper to work with, and if routing a different direction makes more sense for all parties involved and it's the best least cost alternative, then we would certainly propose that back.
While you're there, I think I heard you say 2013, there was some work done by Preservation Park, plastic tile. Will that likely be salvageable, or will it likely not be?
Referencing back to the report, I did mention that, our estimate assumes complete replacement. That is the majority of what that statement was directed at. We would certainly take a look at the tile that Preservation Parks installed, evaluate it with camera inspection, and if it meets our specifications, would certainly propose to take that on maintenance as is.
Is it the same kind of tile that you would be putting in
Yes.
place?
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you.
very good. Lauren, I have a question for you. Which park is it?
This is Gallant Woods.
Gallantwood, okay, that's what I
Yep.
thought.
So just north of Delaware, we have Gallant Woods and then Gallant Farm as well.
Okay, very good, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Okay, anyone else wishing to speak in favor of the petition? All right, last call. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Okay, we'll open it up to those wishing to speak in opposition to the petition. Last call. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition to the petition? All right. Jennifer, I think it's time, unless you have additional questions,
No
comments?
additional questions, but I think we need to close the hearing
We'll
first.
note the
Yeah.
time of the close of the hearing at 10:23.
Okay, the hearing is now closed.
And I would ask that we read the resolution to proceed with the next step.
Okay. Resolution number 25-919, in the matter of proceeding with the project survey and design for the Warren number 129 watershed drainage improvement petition by Richard R. Laner and Earl E. Laner and others.
So moved.
Second, discussion, further discussion?
Just, I think we've heard enough today, certainly the positive comments. There's no one here opposing it, but I believe it does meet the criteria that we're asked to work under, and with that, I will support it.
Okay, I would agree. Jennifer, let's take a vote.
Vote on motion 25-919. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
All right, that concludes the hearing for that petition.
Correct.
And we have no need for executive session, so.
No, we do not.
With no further business, we stand adjourned.